Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. In today's video, we're going to explore something really interesting and exciting. So, if you want to find out what you'll learn by staying with us till the end, make sure to watch the whole video. Stay with us and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get started. The 1960 USA 1 dime coin may seem like a simple, everyday piece of currency, but when you take a closer look at it, you'll find that it holds a rich history, fascinating design elements, and an appeal that continues to captivate coin collectors even today. The 1960 dime, minted during a pivotal time in U.S. history, is much more than just a coin. It's a story, a connection to the past, and a highly coveted item in the world of numismatics. So, what makes this coin stand out? And why has it garnered such attention in the coin collecting community, with examples selling for an astonishing $165,000? Well, let's dive into the story of the 1960 dime and uncover its history, design, minting details, and collector appeal that contribute to its remarkable value. To understand the significance of the 1960 dime, we need to look at the broader historical context of the time. The year 1960 was a time of great change and tension in the United States. The country was in the midst of the Cold War, with geopolitical rivalries between the United States and the Soviet Union defining much of global politics. At home, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, as African Americans and their allies fought for equality and justice. The space race was underway, with both superpowers racing to be the first to land a man on the moon. In the midst of all this, the U.S. economy was going through its own changes, with the post-World War II economic boom starting to slow down. For coin collectors, 1960 is a significant year for a couple of reasons. First, it marked the end of a major period in U.S. coinage, the end of the silver era for many U.S. coins. Prior to 1965, U.S. dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made with 90% silver. However, in 1965, due to rising silver prices and a coin shortage, the U.S. Mint began producing these coins with a copper-nickel clad composition, meaning that the silver content was completely removed from most circulating coins. The 1960 dime, therefore, represents the final years of traditional silver coinage in the United States, making it a historical artifact in and of itself. The design of the 1960 dime is another reason why this coin is so appealing to collectors. The obverse of the coin features a portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's image, created by the artist John R. Sinnock, has been a feature of the dime since 1946, just a year after Roosevelt's death. The choice to honor Roosevelt on the dime was a tribute to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt, who guided the nation through some of its darkest moments, became an enduring symbol of strength, resilience, and hope, making his image on the dime both fitting and iconic. On the reverse of the 1960 dime, we see the traditional design created by Frank Gasparo, which has been in use since 1946. The reverse features a bundle of wheat, a torch, and an olive branch, each symbolizing core American values. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch stands for peace, and the bundle of wheat symbolizes abundance and strength. This design, which is elegant in its simplicity, encapsulates the ideals of the United States and gives the dime a sense of timelessness. It is a design that has resonated with generations of Americans, and it continues to be a key feature of the dime even today. Now, let's talk about the minting process of the 1960 dime. At the time, the U.S. Mint operated multiple facilities, including the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The minting of the 1960 dime occurred primarily at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, with each coin being struck from high-quality dies that ensured precise detail. The D mint mark on the coin identifies it as having been struck at the Denver Mint, while coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint generally lack a mint mark. One of the key features of the 1960 dime is its composition. Like other dimes minted before 1965, the 1960 dime is made of 90% silver and 10% copper. This silver content is what gives the coin its distinctive appearance and weight, making it more durable and more valuable than later versions of the dime that switched to the copper-nickel-clad composition. For collectors, the silver content of the 1960 dime is one of the factors that contributes to its appeal. Not only is it a historical artifact from a time before the removal of silver from U.S. coinage, but its intrinsic value is also higher because of the precious metal it contains. When it comes to the value of the 1960 dime, it's important to understand that the coin's worth is not just determined by its face value. The value of any coin is influenced by several factors, including its condition, rarity, and any potential minting errors. In the case of the 1960 dime, there are several key considerations that can significantly impact its value. The first and most important factor that affects the value of the 1960 dime is its condition. Coins that have been heavily circulated, showing signs of wear and tear, will typically be worth less than coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition. Coins in excellent condition, particularly those that are graded as MS-67 or higher by professional coin grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation (NGC) or the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS), can command a premium in the marketplace. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 1960 dime in MS-67 or better condition might be worth thousands of dollars, far beyond its face value. Another factor that can increase the value of a 1960 dime is the presence of a minting error. Minting errors, while relatively rare, can make a coin highly desirable among collectors. Some 1960 dimes were struck with misalignments or double dies, and coins exhibiting these errors are often worth more than perfectly struck examples. For example, a 1960 dime with an off-center strike or a double die error can sell for significantly higher prices than typical 1960 dimes. These error coins are highly sought after because they are unique and not easily found in regular circulation. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of the 1960 dime is its potential value for collectors. While most 1960 dimes are worth only their face value of 10 cents, certain examples, particularly those in pristine condition or with minting errors, can sell for staggering amounts at auction. Coins that are graded MS-67 or higher and that feature unique characteristics can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. However, the most extraordinary examples of the 1960 dime have been known to sell for up to $165,000. This high price is typically associated with coins that are in virtually flawless condition, with sharp details and minimal signs of wear. The value of the 1960 dime has been rising steadily in recent years, driven by a combination of factors. First, the increasing interest in silver coins, especially those minted before the end of the silver era, has fueled demand. Collectors who are looking to complete their sets of silver coins from the 20th century are particularly drawn to coins like the 1960 dime, which represent the last vestiges of silver coinage in the United States. Second, the rarity of high-grade 1960 dimes has made them highly desirable. Coins that have been well preserved and are in near-perfect condition are becoming increasingly difficult to find, making them more valuable in the eyes of collectors. In addition to its historical significance and silver content, the 1960 dime is also a piece of Americana. It represents an era in U.S. history that is filled with both triumph and turbulence. The 1960 dime encapsulates the optimism of the post-war years, the challenges of the Cold War, and the social and political movements that helped shape the nation. Holding a 1960 dime is like holding a tangible link to a bygone era, a small piece of history that reflects the ideals and struggles of the American people. In conclusion, the 1960 USA one-dime coin is far more than just a relic from the past. It is a symbol of an era, a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt, and a valuable piece of U.S. coinage. Its design, history, and composition make it a fascinating coin to collect, and its value, especially in pristine condition or with minting errors, continues to rise. Whether you are a collector searching for a high-grade specimen or simply someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of U.S. coins, the 1960 dime holds a special place in the world of numismatics, and with its current value of $165,000, the 1960 D dime has proven that sometimes, what seems like a humble coin from the past can end up being worth far more than we could have ever imagined. If you ever come across one of these dimes, take a moment to appreciate its history, its artistry, and its value. It may just be worth a small fortune. The 1964 USA 1-cent coin, a simple yet iconic piece of American numismatics, holds a fascinating story that reflects the nation's historical shifts, political climate, and economic challenges. What might seem like an ordinary penny, used in everyday transactions across the country, has evolved into an object of intense interest and considerable value. For coin collectors, the 1964 1-cent coin is far more than just a penny. It's a symbol of a transitional era in U.S. history and a coin with considerable collector appeal, boasting an impressive value today, with some rare specimens fetching up to $145,000. In this video, we'll explore the fascinating journey of the 1964 1-cent coin, delving into its historical context, design features, minting process, and most importantly, the key factors that have made it so valuable to collectors. Let's dive in. Understand the significance of the 1964 1-cent coin. We need to first take a look at the broader historical context of the United States in that year. The 1960s were a transformative decade for the nation, marked by both political upheaval and social change. Domestically, the country was deeply immersed in the civil rights movement, with African Americans and their allies challenging systemic segregation and fighting for equal rights. Internationally, the United States was locked in the Cold War with the Soviet Union, and tensions were rising around the globe. Meanwhile, the space race was gaining momentum, with the U.S. striving to be the first nation to land a man on the moon. For coin collectors, 1964 is notable for another reason. It was the final year that U.S. coins were made of 90% silver. In 1965, due to rising silver prices and a nationwide coin shortage, the U.S. Mint switched to producing dimes, quarters, and half dollars with a copper-nickel composition. The 1964 1-cent coin, however, was made entirely of copper, and its composition would remain unchanged until later years when various alloys were tested for durability and cost-effectiveness. In that sense, the 1964 penny represents a piece of history, symbolizing the final years of a traditional metal composition in U.S. coinage. Moving on to the design of the 1964 1-cent coin, it features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, which has graced the penny since 1909. This was the year that the U.S. Mint decided to honor Lincoln on the cent to commemorate the 100th anniversary of his birth. The decision to place Lincoln on the penny was groundbreaking, as he became the first president to be featured on a U.S. coin while still alive. Designed by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the 1964 penny depicts Lincoln's bust in a left-facing profile, with the words, "In God We Trust," inscribed to the left and the coin's year of mintage, 1964, at the bottom. Above the president's portrait, the phrase, "Liberty," is inscribed, which speaks to the core values of the United States. On the reverse side of the 1964 1-cent coin, we see a traditional design that has remained largely unchanged since 1909. The reverse features 2 ears of wheat, one on either side of the coin, which symbolizes the country's agricultural heritage. Between the wheat stalks, we find the words "E pluribus unum" and "1 cent," denoting the coin's value. In the center, the coin reads, "United States of America," reflecting the unity and strength of the nation. These wheat stalks, combined with the motto and the coin's inscription, create an overall feeling of American pride, prosperity, and unity. While the 1964 penny might seem like a straightforward coin to most people, it is important to note the significant changes it represents. The 1964 penny is part of a larger transition in the United States currency system, marking a period when the country was grappling with both social challenges and changes in its financial systems. The coin's design, which has remained a symbol of American history for over a century, also shows how a seemingly simple piece of currency can encapsulate broader trends in the country's cultural and political shifts. Now, let's take a closer look at the minting details of the 1964 penny. The U.S. Mint operates several facilities, with the two primary ones for producing pennies being the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The 1964 1-cent coin was produced in vast quantities at both of these facilities, and as such, many coins from this year are still relatively common. The mint mark on the 1964 penny provides a clue as to which facility produced the coin. Pennies struck in Philadelphia are typically unmarked, while those produced at the Denver Mint carry a D mint mark. Although the 1964 penny is one of the more common coins in terms of production numbers, certain factors can make specific examples more desirable and valuable to collectors. The condition of the coin, the presence of minting errors, and its overall rarity are key factors that can drive up its value. Coins that have been well preserved, free from scratches, dings, and discoloration, are particularly valuable. In fact, pennies from 1964 in mint state, graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation (NGC) or the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS), can fetch much higher prices than typical, circulated coins. Another factor that makes the 1964 1-cent coin so interesting to collectors is the possibility of minting errors. Like all U.S. coins, the 1964 penny was produced in large quantities, but not all of them were struck perfectly. Some 1964 pennies exhibit rare errors that make them highly sought after in the world of numismatics. For example, there are examples of the 1964 penny with double die errors, where the design appears to have been struck twice, causing the letters and numbers to overlap. Other error coins, such as those with off-center strikes or die cracks, are also highly prized by collectors. These errors are rare, and when they appear, they can drive the value of the coin sky high, with some examples reaching tens of thousands of dollars. But perhaps the most significant factor that has contributed to the 1964 penny's enduring appeal is the fact that it was the last year of the traditional copper penny. The U.S. Mint would switch to a copper-plated zinc composition for the penny in 1982, and as a result, the 1964 penny remains one of the last pure copper pennies ever minted. This historical fact, combined with the 1964 penny's connection to the larger shifts in U.S. coinage and the economy, makes it an object of interest for collectors who focus on the evolution of American currency. So, what makes the 1964 1-cent coin so valuable today? Well, the value of a coin is largely driven by a combination of factors, including its rarity, condition, and the demand from collectors. While most 1964 pennies are worth only their face value, certain specimens of the coin have sold for astonishing amounts. Coins that are in near-perfect condition, graded MS 65 or higher, can fetch upwards of $1,000 or more. However, the real showstopper here is the rare error coins. Some 1964 pennies with minting errors, especially those with double dies or major misstrikes, have been known to sell for astronomical amounts at auction. In fact, one of the most exceptional examples of a 1964 penny with a rare minting error recently sold for an incredible $145,000. These error coins, often regarded as rare treasures by numismatists, are highly coveted by collectors due to their uniqueness. A 1964 penny with a double die, for example, is one of those rare finds that can fetch huge sums at auction. This makes the 1964 penny a valuable coin not just for its historical significance but also for the excitement and intrigue it generates in the coin collecting community. The search for these error coins has sparked intense competition among collectors, driving the prices higher and higher as the years go on. The 1964 penny's appeal also lies in the fact that it's a piece of American history. With its classic design, featuring the image of Abraham Lincoln and its enduring symbolism of liberty, unity, and prosperity, the 1964 penny represents the best of what America stands for. As the final year of the traditional copper penny, it serves as a reminder of an earlier time in the country's history, before the shift to new, more cost-effective alloys in the 1980s. Conclusion: the 1964 USA 1-cent coin is far more than just a humble penny. It's a piece of history, a symbol of the United States' rich cultural and political legacy, and a highly sought-after object for coin collectors. Whether it's the coin's connection to the end of the traditional copper penny, its design honoring Abraham Lincoln, or the potential for rare and valuable minting errors, the 1964 penny has a unique place in the world of numismatics. And with certain specimens fetching up to $145,000 at auction, the 1964 1-cent coin proves that even the most seemingly ordinary coins can hold extraordinary value for those who appreciate their history and rarity. So, next time you come across a 1964 penny, take a closer look. It could be worth more than you think. The 1964 USA 5-cent coin, commonly known as the nickel, is a piece of American currency that carries far more weight than its modest size would suggest. In fact, what appears to be just another ordinary coin in the pocket change of millions of Americans is actually a fascinating artifact of history, design, and economic significance. With its origins in the mid-19th century, the nickel has become a symbol of American perseverance, change, and identity. And the 1964 nickel, in particular, holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. Some examples of this coin have been known to sell for as much as $150,000, a staggering amount for what might seem like a small, routine piece of currency. So, what makes this 1964 nickel so valuable? What's the story behind this particular coin, and why has it captivated the attention of so many collectors over the years? Let's dive into the rich history, captivating design, and rare details that have turned the 1964 USA 5-cent coin into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins in the world. To fully appreciate the significance of the 1964 nickel, we need to understand the historical context in which it was minted. The year 1964 was a crucial moment in American history, a time of both promise and turmoil. The civil rights movement was in full swing, as Americans of all races and backgrounds fought for equality and justice across the country. Meanwhile, tensions were rising internationally with the Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union, culminating in the Cuban Missile Crisis just 2 years earlier. The space race was reaching its fever pitch, with the US and Soviet Union vying to outdo each other in scientific and technological achievements. Domestically, American families were enjoying the post-war economic boom, yet the country was also dealing with the complexities of the war in Vietnam, which would escalate dramatically in the coming years. In the context of this rapidly changing world, the 1964 nickel is more than just a reflection of the economy or society. It's also a representation of the U.S. Mint's evolving approach to coinage. By 1964, the United States had been using the same nickel design for over 20 years, with the coin's features becoming as iconic as the country itself. This continuity in design and composition made the nickel a staple of daily life in America, used in countless transactions across the nation. But what many collectors don't realize is that, by the time the 1964 nickel was released into circulation, it was already on the verge of being overshadowed by a significant change in U.S. coinage. Before diving into the design of the 1964 nickel, let's take a moment to consider the coin's composition. Unlike many of the dimes and quarters of the time, which were still made of 90% silver until the mint switched to clad coinage in 1965, the 1964 5-cent coin continued to be produced from a mixture of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This distinctive composition gives the nickel its characteristic color and weight, setting it apart from other coins in terms of both its appearance and its tactile feel. The use of nickel as a primary component, in particular, gave the coin its name, the nickel, a term that has stuck with it ever since. In fact, this is the same composition that continues to be used in the production of the modern-day nickel, Though there have been slight variations over the years, the 1964 5-cent coin bears a design that is as deeply entrenched in American iconography as any coin in circulation. On the obverse front of the coin, you'll find a profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, who is perhaps most famous for authoring the Declaration of Independence and overseeing the Louisiana Purchase. The portrait of Jefferson on the nickel was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a competition in 1938 to design the new 5-cent coin. Jefferson's image has been featured on the nickel ever since, making it one of the longest-running designs in American coinage. On this obverse side of the 1964 nickel, Jefferson's face is portrayed in a left-facing profile, with his name, Thomas Jefferson, inscribed along the bottom and the word Liberty above. The year 1964 is placed to the right of Jefferson's profile, and the motto, "In God We Trust," appears just above his shoulder, a feature that has become iconic on many U.S. coins. On the reverse, back, side of the 1964 nickel, the design is equally familiar to most Americans, the image of Monticello, the historic Virginia estate that served as the home of Thomas Jefferson. This side of the coin was also designed by Felix Schlag, and it represents the lasting legacy of Jefferson as an American statesman and architect. Monticello is depicted in great detail, with the neoclassical structure visible in the center, and the words E pluribus unum inscribed above it. Below Monticello, the words 5 cents are prominently displayed, signifying the coin's denomination. Additionally, the coin's inscription, United States of America, completes the reverse side, further reinforcing the American identity and heritage embedded in the coin's design. The Monticello reverse side of the 1964 nickel is a lasting tribute to the architectural ingenuity and vision of Jefferson, who not only had a significant political career but also a strong legacy as an intellectual and designer. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1964 nickel is that, despite its seemingly simple design, certain coins from that year are particularly valuable, primarily because of rare minting errors and their association with the end of the traditional coinage era. While the 1964 nickel was struck in large quantities, there are examples that stand out among the rest, primarily due to unique characteristics or imperfections. Coin collectors know that a slight variation in a coin's design, strike, or composition can dramatically impact its value, and this is where the 1964 nickel begins to reveal its true potential. For example, while most 1,964 nickels appear as expected, with clean strikes and relatively few imperfections, certain coins display minor minting errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or die cracks. These types of errors, though small and often unnoticed at first glance, are highly prized among collectors. A 1964 nickel with a noticeable double die or misaligned strike can fetch a much higher price than a standard example, especially if the error is rare or particularly pronounced. Error coins are often seen as unique, and as a result, they tend to command a premium in the numismatic market, but the real value in the 1964 nickel comes from the coin's rarity and condition. Most of the nickels from 1964 are fairly common, as millions of them were minted that year. However, coins that have been preserved in pristine condition, free from scratches, dents, or discoloration, are incredibly sought after. Coins that have earned a high grade, such as MS 67 or higher, are often the subject of intense bidding at auctions. These coins are prized for their sharp details, luster, and overall flawless appearance. In fact, certain examples of the 1964 nickel, especially those that have been professionally graded in mint state conditions, have been known to sell for impressive sums, sometimes as much as $150,000. This phenomenon is part of what makes the 1964 nickel so appealing to collectors. The combination of its historical significance, its connection to one of America's most important presidents, and its occasional rarity due to minting errors or exceptional condition creates a coin that is both accessible to many collectors and highly prized by those who seek out rare specimens. As more people discover the history and value behind the 1964 nickel, its price continues to climb, making it a lucrative investment for those who are able to find a well-preserved or error-stricken example. It's important to note that the 1964 nickel also holds cultural and symbolic value beyond its monetary worth. Jefferson's legacy as a founding father and the Monticello reverse design resonate deeply with American identity, representing the country's values of democracy, liberty, and architectural achievement. In this way, the 1964 nickel is not just a piece of currency, it is a reminder of the ideals that shaped the nation and the history that continues to influence it today. For modern collectors, the 1964 5-cent coin represents a snapshot of a specific moment in U.S. coinage history. It was one of the last years before the U.S. Mint would begin experimenting with new compositions and designs in the coming decades. The nickel, like many coins of its era, was struck in high quantities and circulated widely, but its rarity and pristine condition and its occasional minting errors have transformed it into an object of desire for numismatists. In conclusion, the 1964 USA 5-cent coin, or the nickel, may seem like an unassuming piece of currency, but it is far more than that. It is a symbol of American history, a reflection of the country's evolving identity, and a piece of numismatic art. The 1964 nickel's enduring design, historical context, and occasional rarity have made it one of the most sought-after coins in the world of collectors. Whether due to its pristine condition, its historical significance, or its rare minting errors, the 1964 nickel has proven itself to be much more than a mere 5-cent coin. And with the most valuable examples selling for as much as $150,000, it's clear that sometimes, even the smallest pieces of currency can hold tremendous value. So, next time you come across a 1964 nickel, take a moment to appreciate its history and design. You may be holding a small fortune in your hands. The 1992 USA $quarter coin is not just a simple piece of currency, it's a remarkable example of American history, design, and craftsmanship. What many don't realize is that, behind its seemingly ordinary appearance, this coin holds a story that spans decades of American history and represents the peak of a key turning point in numismatic tradition. If you've ever looked at a 1992 quarter and thought it was just another routine piece of pocket change, think again. This coin, which was minted in a time of significant political, cultural, and economic shifts, has now become a coveted collector's item, with some rare versions fetching upwards of $135,000. But what makes this coin so valuable? What's the history behind it? And why does it hold such appeal to collectors today? In this deep dive, we'll uncover the fascinating story of the 1992 quarter, its design, the historical context in which it was minted, and the rare, extraordinary examples that have made it one of the most sought-after coins on the market. Let's begin by exploring the historical context in which the 1992 quarter was minted. The year 1992 was a time of great change in America and the world. Internationally, the Cold War was nearing its conclusion as the Soviet Union began to dissolve, fundamentally altering global politics. The U.S. was entering an era of economic and technological transformation, with the rise of the Internet, the growth of multinational corporations, and the increasing globalization of the economy. Domestically, President George H.W. Bush was in office, having taken over from Ronald Reagan, and America was dealing with issues such as the end of the Gulf War, rising tensions in the Balkans, and growing concerns about a struggling economy. In terms of coinage, 1992 was also an important year for the U.S. Mint, as it marked the continuation of the Washington quarter design, a design that had been in place since 1932, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. While the coin had undergone several minor design updates and modifications over the years, it remained one of the most recognizable symbols of American numismatic tradition. The Washington quarter is one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coin history, and by 1992, it had become deeply embedded in American culture. However, what many collectors didn't know at the time was that this quarter, while still using the traditional design, was about to receive an interesting twist: the introduction of the 50-state quarters program. The 50-state quarters program, which began in 1999, would become one of the most successful and iconic coin programs in U.S. mint history, with each state being honored with a unique, commemorative quarter design. But even before the official start of the program, in 1992, the U.S. Mint was already beginning to think about the future of the quarter. For a moment, let's consider that in 1992, the U.S. Mint had not yet made any major changes to the design of the Washington quarter, but it was beginning to prepare the country for the changes that would follow. In other words, the 1992 quarter, while seemingly simple, was a coin caught between the traditional coinage designs of the past and the innovative changes that would come in the years ahead. Now, let's move to the design of the 1992 quarter. Like all Washington quarters, the obverse, front, features a portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, facing left. This design, created by artist John Flanagan, has been in use since the quarter's inception in 1932 and remains one of the most recognizable depictions of Washington in American coinage. Washington's face is framed by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year of minting, 1992 in this case. This side of the coin has remained unchanged for decades, and it serves as a symbol of the enduring legacy of the first president, as well as a representation of the nation's values of liberty, trust, and democracy. On the reverse side of the coin, we see an eagle in flight, wings spread wide, clutching an olive branch in one talon and a bundle of arrows in the other. This classic design, which dates back to 1932, was created by renowned sculptor Henry Crider. Above the eagle is the inscription, United States of America, while below it is the coin's denomination, quarter dollar. Surrounding the eagle is the phrase, E pluribus unum, the national motto that translates to, out of many, one. These elements are symbolic of American unity, strength, and peace. At first glance, the 1992 quarter appears quite similar to its predecessors, but it was also the final year before the mint would begin producing the now famous 50-state quarters. The 1992 quarter, while part of the long-standing tradition of U.S. coinage, marked the tail end of an era. It was the last standard issue of the Washington quarter that would be struck for several years before the mint began issuing commemorative quarters for each state. As a result, collectors began to take notice of the 1992 quarter, recognizing that it was the final year before this significant change took place. But what about the coin's actual value in 1992? Well, like most quarters, the 1992 quarter was initially worth just 25 cents. It was used regularly in commerce, making it a common and unremarkable coin for the general public. However, what has made the 1992 quarter so valuable today is its rarity and condition. In the world of coin collecting, the condition of the coin is one of the most important factors that determine its value. Coins that are in pristine condition, without any marks, scratches, or wear, are much more valuable than those that show signs of heavy circulation. The 1992 quarter, particularly those that have been graded by professional numismatic organizations such as the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, can fetch a significant price. And then there are the error coins. Over the years, the U.S. Mint has occasionally produced coins with flaws or irregularities in their design, which are highly prized by collectors. The 1992 quarter, like many other coins, was no exception. One of the most well-known errors associated with the 1992 quarter is the 1992 D close AM variety. This refers to a minor, yet significant difference in the spacing of the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse side of the coin. In some coins, these letters are very close together, which was not supposed to happen. This subtle error, though small, has made certain 1992 D quarters extraordinarily valuable, sometimes fetching prices in the range of $135,000. What makes this error so significant? Well, it is the result of a mistake in the die used to strike the coins. The 1992 D quarters that were struck with the close AM variety are much rarer than the standard 1992 quarters, making them highly sought after by collectors who are looking for unique or rare examples. While the mint eventually corrected the error, the coins that were minted with this defect have become some of the most valuable and most desired coins in the world of numismatics. The appeal of the 1992 quarter, particularly the 1992 D close AM variety, goes far beyond just its rarity. It's the connection to American history, the design continuity, and the story of the mint's transition into new coinage designs that makes this coin so valuable. The 1992 quarter is a piece of American culture, a coin that captures a moment in time when the nation was on the cusp of major changes, both politically and economically. Collectors appreciate not only the design and the rarity of these coins but also the history they represent. In addition to its historical and numismatic value, the 1992 quarter's appeal lies in its relatability. Unlike rare gold or silver coins, which can often seem out of reach for the average collector, the 1992 quarter was part of everyday life. It was a coin that anyone could have spent, held, or found in their change. The idea that a quarter, something so familiar and mundane, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars is part of what makes it so captivating for collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. It's a reminder that sometimes, the things we overlook in everyday life can hold extraordinary value. In conclusion, the 1992 USA $quarter coin is far more than just a piece of currency. It's a symbol of American history, a representation of design excellence, and a rare collector's item. Whether through its connection to the end of an era in U.S. coinage, its striking design, or the elusive and valuable 1992 D close AM era variety, this coin has captured the imagination of collectors around the world. And with certain versions of the coin now selling for as much as $135,000, it's clear that the 1992 quarter holds significant value, not just in terms of its face value but also in its place within the rich tapestry of American numismatic history. So, the next time you come across a 1992 quarter in your pocket change, take a moment to appreciate its story and potential value. You might just be holding a small fortune.